All of your friends are posting aging selfies with FaceApp, a Russian app that's raising privacy concerns. You see that? What a perfect, we were talking about this before the show started rolling. What a perfect kind of virus. And of course, I don't mean virus in the sense of like a computer virus. I mean a human. I mean a culture virus. You see, a meme. That's why that word exists, right, guys? Explain that to me. Meme? Yeah. Define meme. Hey, look, this is what I look like when I'm old. Hee hee. Hee hee. You see? Hee 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 hee. And then, this is what I look like when I'm old. Hee hee. What about you? What do you look like when you're old? Boom. Map the globe instantaneously. Viral component. I mean, if you hit somebody with this app in a social setting, all of a sudden, everybody's face is mapped instantly. Everybody's jumping on the app. What do I look like when I'm old? Do I look old too? Yeah, you look old. When you look old too. Just like they look old. Everybody's old. You see that? It's wrinkles and it's humans, man. Like, I don't know. What can I say? But the celebrities jumped on and it was over. Influencer marketing. Once the celebrities started posting the FaceApp, because it's important to note that thing's been out since 2017. Once the celebrities started posting, kablamo, rocket fuel, straight to the moon, because then everybody had to do it. It wasn't even an option anymore. You look at the Jonas Brothers here in old format, and you don't even, all of your human agency out the window. You would have needed a neural implant to avoid doing it because you were already downloading the app and getting your own stuff out there, Will. You didn't even have a choice. You see these guys?
Yeah. And I'm sure someone did an old face app or an old face for you, you know? And
for me, they did. Yeah, I don't have a choice in the matter. They put my pictures of me in there. And
now it's in a Russian
and they sent it to Russia. They sent my pictures to Russia. Now, of course, Will, what's important to know, it's not the faces themselves. Well, I mean, that's a piece of it. But it's also the permissions that the app, you know, everybody, you install an app, you don't look at the permissions, right? It was actually the permissions that existed that they were you were granting access to that app to get into your entire photos, your photo gallery. So you're giving up that access. You were giving up location data. You were giving up, what else was there? There was browsing history for whatever reason. Like a lot of apps, you were opening up access to your device. Now, the reason that this one is getting so much attention is just because of how viral it became and the kind of shady permissions and shady wording within the document you sign in the terms of service when you use this app. And on top of that, the location, it being in Russia and people just being spooked in general about things coming from Russia. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't be, but that's why the concern has come up at this point. So the app collects access to your photos, location information, usage data, browsing history. And when people dug a little bit deeper into the specifics around the terms of service, within the user content section, here's a pretty grim component, pretty grim piece within the agreement. You grant FaceApp a perpetual, irrevocable, non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide, fully paid, transferable, sub-licensable license to use, reproduce, modify, adapt, publish, translate, create derivative works from, distribute, publicly perform, and display your user content and any name, username, or likeness provided in connection with your user content in all media formats and channels now known or later developed without compensation to you. Lawyer stuff, obviously, but most people are going to be able to understand what that means. That just basically means anything you provide to FaceApp, any data they retrieve from those permissions which you granted them, they then have the ability to use for any purpose they see fit. So you could download the app, put your face on there, you see, and they could attach your name to it, and all of a sudden you could be the face of FaceApp marketing campaign. Or on the flip side, you could be sold to some database somewhere where they try to attach your likeness, your name to some study or to some manipulation tactic to get you to buy something you don't even really know, right? And they're using pretty advanced facial recognition algorithms, so they've got like a pretty good map of your face as well. So this is the type of thing where when you boot up, say, an iPhone and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go on a Face ID, no big deal, isn't it cool? I'm moving my head around. Well, in that case, it's like, okay, the benefit is big, is gonna let you unlock your phone in a secure manner. The company you're entrusting with that data is a big company. It's Apple, okay? Whether you should or shouldn't trust them, they make a big case for privacy. I assume they should be trusted as much as any other company of that scale, but you assume that there are certain procedural things in place to protect your data. So you get a big payoff, and you get a company with the credentials like Apple that becomes responsible for your data after the moment at which you sign your face up. This is the complete opposite of that. The payoff is almost nothing. I'm old. For 5 seconds, just straight novelty. Viral, crazy viral, but it's just novelty. And the company you're entrusting with the data, you don't even know. It's registered somewhere in Russia. You go to the website. There's not a lot of information about the company. You're just not really sure where this facial recognition data is actually going. So what can I say? I got to break it down for you. This is another one that people ask me to ask for a take on. And also the news story was just, it was moving around because people were like, don't do it anymore. Surprisingly, certain other apps have had similar user content restrictions and structure within the document terms of service, even big ones that have said stuff like this in the past. I think Facebook has had was under some scrutiny for some of the stuff in their terms of service, which they then went on to change. Instagram as well. You'd be amazed if you read through this stuff, if you really go looking for it, what kind of permissions you're actually granting through the contract you're signing, but also through like actual permissions on your device where you're letting that app look. So this is not all that surprising to me. The part where I say, this is a little wacky is the cost to reward ratio. What you're giving up and what you're getting. Potentially nothing happens here, and everything is cool, and your data is secure, and it doesn't get used in a way that you're not happy with, and so on and so forth. That's the most likely outcome still right now. But what payoff did you get, Will? You get 5 seconds of old man Will? Even if it's a 1% chance that it somehow is detrimental to you, I don't think the payoff's big enough. But you can't really blame people. Once the meme starts to go, once the ball starts rolling, it only picks up steam. And it's so easy to do and pop on, and for everyone to see it and go, I want to participate. And for me, the interesting part of the story, the fact that this has been out since 2017, 2 years, but it took the cultural virus to take hold for it really to spread. And once it did, it did. And so you start to think about how quickly these types of ideas, these viral concepts can spread and create tremendous amounts of data that didn't exist previously, like the maps of millions and millions of human faces. Like you could tell people, look, we're trying to build a database of human faces for the good of mankind, to cure all the world's diseases. It's only going to take 20 minutes, 15 minutes of your time. And people wouldn't do it. But if they think it's going to be fun to post on their social media, it can fly like wildfire, like a forest fire. It could just instantaneously. That's how quickly the idea can spread. I mean, this is not news. You know this. But in this particular case, because of the type of data people were submitting, it showcases the potential to generate tremendous amounts of data to get people to behave a way you might want them to behave and not ask questions and just partake instantaneously for the slightest little nudge on social media, for the littlest click or cool or couple of extra likes or whatever the consequence might be. Tiny little social reward, you can get people to do things, including send an accurate map of their face to Russia. I think it's very interesting from that standpoint. I'm not trying to scare anyone, though. I still don't think anything's going to happen. It should be all right. I'm not saying that, but it's just, you know, you take a second, take a step, take a second, take a deep breath. Maybe you might maybe you reconsider the type of apps you install on your phone. Maybe you take a second, you know.